afternoon, good morning, or good evening, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. We welcome you to the first episode of Crypto and Coffee, together with me, Mr. Phil, and the CEO of DTC Group, Barami Rai, Mr. B. So first of all, thank you so much, brother, for taking your time today to join the format and be my guest in our very first episode. It's quite exciting, and I'm super happy to be here with you today. How was your day so far?
Yeah, thanks, Phil. It's been amazing. I mean, it's night here now, so I guess good in heaven on your side. But very excited, like you said. We're now gearing up our official. I would say it's episode zero because it's just us. But hey, episode one, we're live streaming across all the socials, and we're kicking this off virtually. But like we planned, we're gonna have in-person sessions with amazing friends and partners soon. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining in, and we have our lovely Phil as a host here. He's also the CVDO at DTC Group. So very excited for you guys to be here and just to see, like the episode is called "Why We Built This," why we started crypto and coffee. It's something very fresh and new.
I mean, you just said it's just us, but in reality, I
Yeah.
mean, this is how everything started. Two guys in front of webcams speaking to each other during your nighttime, and coming up with plans and ideas. And this is what this show will be about. So in the first segment of today's episode, we will just casually talk a little bit about our motivation behind starting Crypto and Coffee, what we want to achieve with it, and how we got the initial idea to run it. And later in the show, then I'm also going to do a little interview with Mr. B today, so you can learn about his personal journey, where he's coming from, what he's passionate about, his big wins and his big losses along the way. And yeah, we hope that we can give you some great insights. So let me start a little bit with how we initially had the idea of running this format and what our motivation behind it is. When I don't know how it was for you, but when I first started to educate myself more and more about smaller project, mid-cap projects, altcoins, when I moved away from just being interested in Bitcoin, I found a lot of social media channels and they regularly had guests and they interviewed them in a live setting. And back in the days, this was quite common. This was very appreciated by the community. And personally, I enjoyed it a lot. I spent hours and hours in live streams, in Telegram groups. I think there was not even Twitter Spaces back then. It came much later. But I really enjoyed learning firsthand from founders about their business, but especially interested, I was always about their story, about what brought them to the point that they were able to build something in this industry. And this is the reason why we wanted to start something similar. In Crypto and Coffee, we will more introduce you personas over projects. It's not necessarily tech heavy. It's more focused on the individuals behind these projects. Obviously, now and then we will also have a little bit more of a tech talk, but since I'm not the most technical person, we won't go too far into the tech and we will more stay on the surface, talk about journeys of people, talk about motivations of people. And this is my personal reason why we wanted to start a format. Obviously, we can produce great content. We will upload it on different kind of streaming sites. You can join us live if you want to see the uncut version, and we will also produce some shorts that we spread on social media. But the main goal is to introduce people to you that you might not have the opportunity to speak with on a daily basis. You might have the opportunity to speak to them at some expos or you join some online panel, but your time most likely with them will be very limited. And we want to give these people a stage so they can reach a broader audience and at the same time give you the opportunity to be live at the action, learn from them, learn with them, and also give input. I mean, you can write comments anytime. We will see them as well in the live stream. Maybe we will even take some of your comments and implement it into the show. But why is it crypto and coffee? Why the coffee is what people asked me when I told them about this initial idea. And there is a very easy reasoning behind. I mean, don't you know these situations in your life where you just sit down with good friends and you enjoy a coffee and you go through topics and the conversation is just so natural and the flow is just so easy? And this is what we want to replicate here. And this is why we both brought our coffee cups. Also, Mr. B has
Let me
coffee.
show mine. Gotta represent the team, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I'm not drinking coffee as it's late night, but still, the concept's coffee, matcha, hot tea, whatever.
Everybody knows. Tell them.
Yeah,
So I'm having coffee. Mr. B is having tea. Is it
yeah, just
tea?
hot tea, Phil. Just hot tea.
Yeah,
Oh, we're
that's
gonna spill some tea as well, I guess, today. So
absolutely. And
yeah.
this is the reason why we chose the brand. We want to have like a chilled, laid back environment. It's not just about content. It's about hanging out, having casual conversation, and go with the flow, but at the same time, present as much information as possible.
Mm.
Um, B, I took a lot of speaking time initially. Do you want to add up on anything that I said so far?
Yeah, sure, Phil. Thank you. And I think you hit it right at the coffin, right? So, um, we've spent years building DTC. You were also with me since day one, Phil, I would say, right? We ran accelerators, launched so many events, um, helped so many projects scale throughout the year. And, we met with so many amazing people, hundreds of founders, hundreds of partners across both Web3, Web2, Web 2.5, whatever you want to say. And yes, we did a lot of AMAs. I'm pretty much sure you have hosted over 300 plus AMAs. I mean, not including so many more, right? So I think the number is much higher. But I think we are also at the point where now, as a creator market, right, you see a lot of changes in, especially in Web3, a lot more quality, right, over quantity, and we're seeing amazing shows out there, and it also inspired us, our whole team, to do something different. If we're already investing, so much resources, time towards, doing the AMAs, talking with amazing founders in private, over coffee, right, over a cup of coffee, or sometime the cigar nights. And it's just a symbol. It's just, for me, it kind of resonates to smoking cigar, right? We usually do the event lounge. It's just a very quality time that you sit down with another individual person, team, that you really want to spend some time knowing each other, discuss things, and just figure things out together. So I think this is why we came up with the crypto and coffee. Obviously, we're in Web3, so that's hence the crypto. But we're not gonna definitely just stop at crypto alone. We're gonna go to the fintech and the tech areas, AI, and many more. But always there has to be a kind of source of crypto, Web3, blockchain incorporated, 'cause that's our home base. And yeah, I'm very excited with many guests we have prepared in line, right, Phil? You know it. I think we already have like 20-30 guests in the pipeline. We look forward to do this every single week, hopefully more, but that's where we're starting. And we actually have already built a in real life podcast studio, that's gonna be live soon in Bangkok here. And we've planned a lot of sessions across different conferences happening soon in Bali, in Bangkok itself, Phuket, Korea, Japan, Malaysia. So I'm very much excited to scale this, with the whole team. And of course, we have Phil, one of the best hosts ever in this space. I think if you guys are someone active in participating in AMAs, X Spaces, or whatever, you pretty much have heard Phil's beautiful voice sometimes. And yeah, for these sessions, I'm very excited to bring amazing guests, with 60 minutes of unfiltered conversations, founders, teams, projects, both in front and people behind the scenes, right, that you may not know that they are behind amazing platform tools, products, and just to explore, and build real impact, share values across these sessions we do. So a little bit shameless plug, if you're someone watching this, if you would love to sponsor us or be a part of the show, feel free to contact our team, or if you are friends, partners who just want to get on some session and talk to Phil, reach out to us, guys. So that's
And
why we
definitely,
crypto coffee. Yeah.
sorry to jump in here, but and definitely, as always, even if we
Mm.
talk about investments, even if we talk about business here, crypto and coffee is not financial advice. And you always do your own research before doing any investments. If you're overwhelmed with investment decisions, then get somebody that is legally able to give you advice, and then find the best possible way for you forward. This should be considered entertainment,
Mm.
and obviously we try to also educate and bring a lot of information to the table, but definitely not investment advice. I just wanted to make this one clear because I might forget later. Sorry
100%.
to
Yeah.
jump in there, but I think it was
No,
quite fitting.
no, you're
So
correct, Phil.
you got our motivation. We want to be
Mm.
a platform for people to join, to have conversation about relevant topics, share about their personal journey, about their business, and about where they want to go next. And additionally, we will have some very interesting special formats, like Mr. B just mentioned. We can have offline sessions when we visit events, interview people there on the ground, or also use our podcast studio in Bangkok to invite people there and have an offline session. So for now, we are focusing on the online side of things, and you will also see me traveling now and then. So there might be an episode where I'm in a hotel room. There might be an episode where I'm with the guys in Asia, or I will also have episodes where I spend my time in Europe. But this shouldn't change the quality, because we're well prepared. We have setups everywhere installed, and we want to bring to you the best possible quality with the best possible people. And speaking about the best possible people, we have one of them already here. And this is the founder of DTC Group. And now I would love to move away from the
Mm.
first segment. And now we're going to go into the second segment. And this is our regular segment. So, in general, when we start the show, we will always start with the first sip. So, we both brought our cups. I'm ready for my
Yeah.
first sip.
First sip together.
Today, I actually already had a few sips, but in the future, I'm gonna focus on the first sip during the show. But we had some preparation time to do before we were able to kick it off today. I was honestly
Mm.
thinking for a very, very long time about what question to ask you first at the first sip. Mr. B and me, we agreed that we won't share any question list, that it will be fully organic in our first episode, because we want to showcase the real reaction and the real answers, and not just some scripted show for you. And while I was thinking about all the successes that we celebrated, all the big things that you did in the industry, I was always coming back to one point. Being a founder is about making decisions. And sometimes being a founder is about making decisions that you personally might not even like. The tough things, the situations where you spend several sleepless nights about the decision, and you still are unsatisfied with the results that you are getting, but you know that you need to move forward. So, this will be my first sip question for you. What was the toughest decision that you as a founder had to make during your journey in Web3,
Mm.
while you built your business DTC Group, or any other venture? If you're building different kind of ventures and there have been some hard decisions to make, then please also tell us about this, but primarily focusing on the crypto part. So
Mm. Mm.
the
Mm.
stage is
Mm.
yours. The first sip
Thanks, Phil.
for Mr. B.
Thanks, Phil. Thank you so much. That's a great question, and I need to think a little bit because being in crypto, there are so many situations that has happened, and as we all know, I'm sure all listeners here, if you're in Web3, you know how crazy this market is and can be at times. Um, like the stock market on steroid, we always like to say. And even now, we're at a very, very weird timing, right? The whole space has kept evolving and changing. And now, since the change of the political landscape, the regulations, even with AI kind of tapping into every parts of our lives now, the way we are moving as Web3 people, industry as a whole has changed. But to bring out the most tough decisions, I would go back to around 2023 or early 2024, Phil.
Mhm. So at the time,
Obviously,
uh,
yeah.
the last bear market ended.
Yeah, yeah. We've been in many cycle. I myself been in crypto very, very early, fortunately. But we started DTC Group only around 2020. Of course, everyone that knows me here, I also do e-com businesses. We've got couple logistic robotic companies in Thailand. That's more like, on the traditional world part. Um, but I would love to highlight on DTC because I believe most of our audience are in crypto. And if you're a builder, if you're a founder, entrepreneur, I would say you're not alone. We pretty much are affected by every macro micro factors that happens in crypto space, and everything outside there affects us. And if we look at the positive side, there's a lot to be happy about, but also looking at a negative side, I think what messes up most people in this space is definitely the volatility. And that happens to me as well. And fortunately, we've had great team members, we've had great partners that were able to kind of go with the flow, right, Phil? Across each pitfall, I would say, where most people got caught up in different kind of, we had the DeFi summer, ICO runs, P2E eras, and fortunately, we we went past those quite smoothly until at a point. I think these are the things no one has known. I've never tell anywhere outside publicly, but outside of all the glitter, glamorous, view picture people see from outside view, we've had some tough decisions internally. For me, especially founding a company, especially in Web3, very young, 2020, and how much of a scale we've had in the past 5 years. It's like 50 to 100x growth every single year, on top, on top, on top. It kind of messes your mental up a little bit in terms of course it gives you this superpower of, yeah, you can achieve everything, and it kind of messes up your thinking and strategic plans that
Mhm.
you normally implement when running an actual traditional companies. So the one of the biggest mistake would have been scaling too fast. But more than scaling too fast, I would say scaling without proper consideration of the whole market and where it is going. And it was quite obvious for us, right, Phil? We had our research team and many great friends. We knew the how the regulations gonna hit. We knew how the market, liquidity gonna be kind of transferred into different areas. But that was sort of me as a founder and having sort of this ego that you have to go through, kind of
Mhm.
stick its tongue in and saying, yeah, scale more and add more team, get more new locations, invest more here, and double down everything there. Don't have any kind of security or treasury backed up, right? No need for plan B. It's gonna work out always, and it's nice to be positively delusional. It's something that I also love, but always you gotta see and have a wider frame and view things from different perspectives. So for me, I think that was like the most difficult time making decisions to um, lay off things that we couldn't take forward, especially some team members, for example, scaling the team down. tightening, the build up. And I think this is something people are still facing, and many founders right now, especially the liquidity in the whole space is quite dry. And but looking at the positive side, it's just how the market is, and it's just the evolvement of the whole space. I mean, we are where we always discussed where crypto would be. It just came too fast for me. I think that's what's happening. So as a founder, that was a tough decision to do, especially when you have this ego big size of a balloon. So you have to really kind of sit down, reflect on yourself, and then reposition. But then we did go over it quite fast too, Phil. Right? We had this adaptability on our side, and like we always say in Thailand, we say the strongest creature in the planet is cockroaches because they've been here since dinosaur era, and the trait they have is adapting. So for crypto people, I'm sure we all know how to adapt. We follow wherever the scent is, and we stay true to the core. And for us, that's just providing the best support ecosystem to founders, to projects, helping them to scale, bringing the best curated events out there, and incubating, accelerating amazing projects, products, and now running amazing show with you, Phil. So a little bit long take, but I had to kind of think
Yeah.
through what the listeners could relate, and I think many founders out there can relate to this. Since we do a lot of roundtables offline in real life, Phil, we do meets up every month. You also know, so this is the conversation I had with a lot of people, right?
Yeah, and this is actually a topic that is quite prominent in the market right now. I mean, everybody that is listening to us right now might know that Bitcoin is struggling for the past few months. We are seeing lower lows. And actually, I think it was yesterday that I read a quick article about a conference that was in France the other day. And the person writing the article mentioned several times that a lot of unemployment is currently happening in the crypto industry. A lot of companies, they cut down on the team, they try to stay alive, just like the cockroaches that you mentioned. I really like that reference. And
Yeah.
we should also always keep in mind, I mean, 2020, it's been 6 years since then, but you're a super young founder. So making these decisions at ages in your early 20s is quite tough. I mean, these are things that grown men in their 40s and 50s, they can be struggling with, especially if they're as close to their team as you are. But at the same time, making these decisions in your early 20s is just crazy. So thank you so
Thanks,
much
Phil.
sharing this with us. And I actually was quite sure that you're going to answer that question in that way, because I
Thanks,
know
Phil.
that you're very close to your team, and that after a lot of growth, the market will always teach you that there is not just upside, there is also downside. And you as a business owner, you need to react on it. If you want to save your ship, then you also need to make
Yeah.
hard decisions. So thank you very much for answering that first
Th-
SIP
Thanks, Phil.
question.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I want to give a little bit add on because
mhm.
I do want to. I have some mentees, and they do ask me, especially for people who are so empathic type like me, and how much close you usually get to people. Uh, Going back, the main issue for me was just scaling without properly planning, right? Phil, that I said, and just going with the flow, just seeing everything as being very positive and forgetting all the fundamentals, the foundations that actually got us there, right? If we're playing a chess, it's just planning it and just following the plan. And whenever we, let's say, have a incorrect move, we go to the plan where we initially had, how we would back down. But that was a thing I believe crypto kind of messes you up a little bit, right? It kind of gets you going every day with all the meme coins and everything launching, and the internet kind of distorts a lot of the reality. You see people sharing these wins and wins and wins on top every single day, and those aren't real, but it messes you up, especially for people who are building and are very young. You think that you can achieve everything in 3 months, 6 months, and you have to do that. If you're not, you're going behind. But most of the young kids I also meet, they're already in like the brackets of top 10% in the world if you just see from the success achievement. So I think sometimes the space really kind of messes with the way you see reality, and that is a big lesson for pretty much everyone in the space, to be honest. And yeah,
Yeah,
I think yeah,
fully relate to it. I mean, when I first started to look into like smaller altcoins, mid-cap projects, you had a few projects launching a week and people were waiting for it. But then the madness happened, then the bull market happened, and more projects were flooding into the markets. More and more businesses have been built, more and more money was made and lost. And at one point, I completely agree with you. You lose track for it. You get
mm,
overwhelmed by the amount of events that are happening in just a single day, and then you go to bed, you open up your eyes in the morning again, and the whole thing starts again. And it didn't even wait for you. I mean, while you're asleep, crypto is not asleep. It continues going.
mm,
And this is a very challenging industry for builders. But where I would love to start with your personal take is much earlier, before you even got interested into blockchain technology, before you even invested into Bitcoin, before you bought your first ETH. Um,
yeah.
where did you grow up? Where are you from? Tell us a little bit about your early years. Where did you go to school? How did your parents raise you? What's the values that they gave you on your way?
Thanks, Phil. Um, I've been in couple like I think podcasts and X spaces. Never got to share in more like my uh, childhood parts. Um, I've I've grown up from a very loving family. Uh,
That's good to hear.
my dad is from Nepal and my mom is from Thai. So born and raised in Phuket. Um, always seen them working hard, seen the entrepreneurship in them, and that's what gave me the seeds of running businesses, becoming entrepreneur myself. Never had a thought of working somewhere or for someone. And I've seen them from, if it's a graph, it's like a wave up and down. And they were very young. They had me very young. I think they had me when they were like 18 or 19. So it was like I was growing up with them, and I saw their lowest, their highest, saw their struggles, their wins, and that's how kind of built the root within me of just life overall. Um, and a lot of the things that you didn't understand, you grow up and understand. It was also their first time being parent, and they pretty much didn't know shit like like us as well, right? And fast forward, I would say during hmm, I don't have much memories usually, so
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to
mean,
pull them up. Yeah,
early
yeah,
childhood is a tough one.
yeah, yeah.
But
Uh,
let me jump in here quick. So basically, your parents also have been entrepreneurs. They ran a
yeah,
business.
yeah,
Did they run it
yeah.
together or
Yeah,
separate?
yeah, definitely together. I,
Nice.
I, I would, I would like to touch more on like the part where I think it really hit, and I started interested in doing businesses seriously and finance when I went abroad in Singapore. The first year was all right. The second year was where um, in Thailand, I think the economy was down as well, and that was when I really felt that we're having some serious issues now. I was always considerated for my family, finance. I never asked for anything. But they did a very good job of
Mm-hmm.
making it seem like everything is always okay, right? They didn't spoil me or my sister, but they were great parents, and they rooted a lot of great things inside within me about how you can become anything you want, you can achieve anything in life you want, and there was never barriers of what you couldn't do. It's all mental, and as long as you believe, that you can do it, you can actually make it happen. But definitely, I see their struggles, right? They didn't have the easiest upbringing, and the second year of my university in Singapore, that was the toughest time I had as a teenager. Think that was when I started noticing my parents couldn't pay the rent for the rooms
Oh
anymore,
wow.
and
Okay.
then I started finding part-time jobs, which it's definitely not legal. I can say it now. Back then, it wasn't legal for for abroad kids to work. I found a very good uh, Japanese restaurant owner. I still remember his name, and he took me in, and that was how I kind of made $10 an hour. Finished school, went there, worked my ass off, and came back. Still couldn't cover enough for the room. And then had couple side hustles. I did like a sneaker reselling. I found Coca-Cola collectibles. It was good money back then, so
Crazy.
it kind of yeah started my journey of just buying and reselling. From then on, Phil, yeah,
I would say this
I
is
kind of
exactly the reason why we're doing this show, because I
yeah
mean you're now describing to us your early years, your teenager
yeah
years where you've been hustling in the restaurant just to help out your parents. And who would have guessed that? Who
mm,
that
mm,
sees
mm.
you today at events, at gatherings, speaking on stage in panels? Who would have guessed that this guy actually at one point dropped at the restaurant?
Mm.
It's easy to see people with success and kind of be in the mindset of yeah, he got blessed by life. He had parents that been successful before. They had all the money in the world. But if you look behind the facade, a lot of times it looks completely different. And a lot
Yes,
of
true.
self-made people are, especially in our industry, because if you ran a business in a successful business in Web3, you definitely didn't get it gifted by your parents. The time that
Mm.
our industry is relevant is just so short. So you should definitely be a self-made man. And thank you so much for sharing also with us the story of your early years in Singapore.
Mm.
Did
Mm. Mm.
you say you did
100%.
go to school there? So you were there for school purposes, university
Yeah,
purposes.
yeah, and it was fast tracked, so I kind of graduated within 2 years. Actually, I
Oh wow.
just went back there a couple months ago to get my certificates because after that it was COVID right away, I believe, and everything was shut down. And yeah, just recently I got my certificates after like 7 8 years. But
Crazy.
that was also around the time that I went back home, and actually I started learning about crypto then. My dad, he's always the one I share everywhere that my dad's the one who pulled me into crypto because he actually helped me open the account, and I saw him and group of friends getting Bitcoin, talking about it. Fast forward, they kind of traded it all for a very big scam coin called started with F. So that happened, but it was obvious because we didn't understand what Bitcoin was back then. We just went with the hype and the small trend, and from then on we actually start going in deep and start stacking back up again, start investing in it. We went down the rabbit hole, we took the orange pill, and voila, now we're just stacking every um, opportunities we can with Bitcoin, investing back again. He started to show me DeFi stuff. Downloaded MetaMask, got into ICOs. I think it was CoinList, right? The early ICO website. Um, he got
Good
into
days.
BNB ICO as well. We started trading meme coin, and that was the beginning of everything. So fast forward, I saw opportunities, made some network connections with friends, and started the agency, DTC Group at the very start. And then we just scaled from there, Phil. So it was a fun story, and for me, everything I have today is definitely because of my parents. I'm very grateful for them, and I don't kind of have anything to say but just much love and thankful for them for giving me a lot of great things that helped set my foundation up. And those years that was tough for me, looking back, it was one of the very important years that helped shapes me to become who I am. So for all the young entrepreneurs, you have to work hard. We see a lot of crazy, lucky stories in crypto, but you gotta work hard. Like you can't go far in life without working hard, and you need to learn it. Every single steps from the ground up. It's very important. I mean, if you're someone who just got lucky or got a lot of support, it's good for you, but definitely you need to build a very strong foundation, and it starts from home. And then that's why I'm also here today, Phil.
I mean, being lucky is not a strategy. And
Mm.
I saw a lot of people win heavily in the market, win crazy amounts in the market. But a lot of them, they also got rid of these assets in a very short period of time. Because, as I said, being lucky is not a strategy. Being lucky is
No.
not something that you can build your future on. But thank you very much for sharing with us your journey. And you moved a little bit too fast, actually, because I want
Yeah.
to ask you exactly how you then finally found the orange pill, because from working at a restaurant in Singapore to being the founder of a Web3 business, I guess there was some steps in between. So you already mentioned that your father was a driving force
Yeah.
behind getting involved with crypto. And this is also quite unique. I think you're one of a few people who could say that their father was the one that introduced them to MetaMask. I guess most of the time it's the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me and my father, it was that way, and he's still overwhelmed up to this day with just very basic things on exchanges or like keeping his wallets clean. But yeah, it's nice to see that father and son both fell in love with an industry. And you also mentioned that you got involved with your first big scam. This is something that we saw over and over, and it's still ongoing. So I still consider crypto the Wild West. We see a lot of regulations recently, and we see a lot more clarity in the market. That is definitely
Mm.
good for our long-term growth, and it was needed. But at the same time, it was fun to gamble, because it's nothing other than gambling. If you invest with a strategy into Bitcoin, I would consider this investing. But if you're buying meme coins, if you're buying low cap projects, this is a pure gamble. You can go to the next slot machine, put your money in, and you will get the same result. Sometimes you win, most of the times you lose.
Mm. Mm.
So you lost. We basically heard from you that you lost, you invested into a scam, and then got involved with the meme coin community. And when was the time that you made the decision, okay, I want to be a founder, I want to run my own business in this industry? And how did you start? Like, what have been the first steps that you took?
Mm.
What's needed to
Um,
do something from scratch?
well, yeah, I skipped a lot of parts, Phil. So between me and my dad starting to invest into crypto, we definitely still ran our businesses in the traditional side of things and just keep reinvesting back on. Um, but all day and night, waking up 10 a.m. until 3 a.m., 4 a.m. every single day was just me networking, learning, studying about crypto, getting into groups, channels, and being in Thailand, we use a lot of Facebook and Line. So even before I knew about Telegram, that was my source of, let's say, education and talking to people, networking. The undoxed era. And my handle was time to get rich back then. Still got it. So yeah. Then once I got into Telegram through a Facebook post that posted about airdrops, that was a game changer. I found out Telegram, Thai channels, then I found out these alpha private groups, whitelist giveaways, and I was super, super active. Day and night, I was just talking to people, making friends, online friends. And actually, I started at one point to raise some funds from high school friends just to invest in some projects. And it did well and was okay. And I started picking up how things actually work. Um, And also, one of the reasons why we want to do this, because medias and these amazing YouTube channels, individuals that share about crypto, these podcasts, I've learned everything from there. There was no one that mentored me. Yes, my dad helped me got into space, but I found out so much value from the internet, and that's the power of internet, Phil. So once I got in, met some friends, and here and there, we got into a group of people who were running these call channels. If you guys listening don't know what a call channel is, it's basically a channel that influences people, share about plays, whitelist, and share opportunities for people to get in early, and just share, what's popping and what's not. So uh, once I became a co-owner there, we got to be in a lot of opportunities, and that's where I started having the idea of running a agency that helps scales project. And we're not talking about just marketing, but full-fledged agency, from consulting to full GTM strategies, getting them on exchanges, doing all the things that's required. And from then on, I was fully doxxed since day one, and this is something I really share to people, that in business, especially in crypto, where we see a lot of uh, dramas and things going wrong, going south, reputation, honesty, and your credibility as a person is the most important thing. And that's something I never let go of, no matter what kind of opportunities it came in front of me. Even if you could make millions out of some certain situations, it's something I never gave in, Phil. And I think that's very important going forward for people.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah, yeah.
it's something quite uncommon back in the days. I
Mm.
mean, everybody was believing in
Yeah,
the anonymous crypto world, and
yeah.
everybody was very much, yeah, not putting their face out there. And this was something
Mm.
that made you stand out actually when I first interacted with you, because suddenly there was this Thai guy. And I was used to people having NFTs as their profile pic, having their dog as their profile pic, or some other nonsense. But there was this person on Telegram that actually had their face in there. And it got me so
Mm.
curious, because I was like, who is that guy? And why is he doing that? When everybody else was still like super, super private, you were one of the first ones that started to put their face out
Thanks,
there
Phil.
and stand to your business. And this is also what got me curious. So we can be honest here. I mean, I got my reasons why I got involved, and this was one of them, because running after people that don't show their face, so you know nothing about them, and having on the other hand the person that puts their face out there, that does events. I know the early stages of the events that you started, it's been quite fun as
Mm-mm.
well. And also what you mentioned regarding the call channels, these influencer channels, for everybody that might be a little bit less involved in the hardcore degen space, these are basically gambling opportunities. These are channels on Telegram that will post gambling opportunities on a daily basis. You make your own decisions. You can buy these projects that they introduce to you, or you just wait for the next one. And these have been quite crazy at times. I think it was like 2020 till 2023, 2024, something like this, where these channels performed like crazy. And also the
Yes.
whitelist that you mentioned. I
Yeah.
mean, you bring up these topics, it kind of gets me nostalgic, because I can't remember the last whitelist opportunity that was a real opportunity in the last few years. Like, if you got a whitelist in 2022, in 2023, you were basically printing money. I
Mm-mm.
had so many projects where I was like desperate to get a whitelist, because I knew if I make it in there, if I can be one of the early investors, I'm gonna at least 5x my money. In the best case, I'm gonna 20x my money. And these opportunities have been quite rare back then. So people were fighting for it. In the recent
Mm.
years, what we experience is more like a oversaturated market by small cap projects, where volume splits a lot between different kind of projects, and it's very tough for founders to get volume to their project, to keep it alive, the lifespan of these projects decreased by a lot. And this is also the reason why I personally I'm not that interested anymore into this low cap, mid cap space, because everything got too fast. There is too much
Yeah.
noise, too much distraction. But the time that Mr. B just presented, it was amazing. It was crazy. And you were just hunting for opportunities on a daily basis. You were
Yeah.
nonstop to people on Telegram. And it was just so fun. It always reminded me a little bit on a video game, and it felt unreal to do this on a daily basis and making money with it. So thank you for also introducing us to your early steps. So you became a co-owner in a call channel. You had that first vision of building a marketing business and helping projects out and scaling them. How did
Mm.
it progress? Like, which next steps did you take? How big was your initial team? And what have been the important lessons through this early scaling phase that you as an individual learned, and that also helped you to later on build several other ventures like the event
Yeah.
agency, or also the robotics and logistics business?
Thank you, Phil. And touching on that, it's definitely very important to have amazing co-founders, which was fortunate enough to have as well. And I think most people know, our co-founders. So uh, having the right people by your side, we talked about being credibility and protecting your reputation as first, right? Being able to give value to people even before you ask something, that has always been our, main kind of source of how we have grew our network, built friendships across the web3 space. Just being super active, being there, showing up. And from, 4 5 years into running DDC now, and like you say, we've built ecosystems around different areas, Phil, and just trying to make sure that we have enough, resources, power to, support and scale projects, whether it's our own projects, our own products, or our clients or partners. The most important thing I've learned is always to, at first is have the right people, have the right team, have people who see the vision together. We like to use the analogy of One Piece a lot, right? So we get on the ship, we have the right crew members, we know exactly where we're going, we're all trusting each other, and for me, entrepreneurship, running businesses, companies, or even if you're a team member, it's such a spiritual kind of journey. It helps you learn so much. It's much more than just making money and making it. Of course, all of our goal is just to be there, get there. We have this check amount, all of us. But then it's so important to have something that you're actually value and you're building towards it. And I think for me sharing here today, that's what is super important. And of course, that's not something you can get right off the bat, right? You have to explore with yourself, you have to build self-awareness, self-development. I think that's the superpower that I've got throughout the years, really knowing why we're doing what we're doing and where we're heading. And to, in additional, incorporating that with the space itself. Web3 is still very new, right? The
Mm,
regulations is impacting a lot in many ways, and it's still volatile. I wouldn't deny that. Um, I'm a Bitcoin maxi, so still Bitcoin is the only true crypto, I would say. But there are still amazing products,
100%.
amazing founders out there that actually are solving problems out there. And now with the AI coming in, I I always tell my friends that, crypto was the foundational that helps boost AI as well. So it's not like the whole liquidity is moving to AI, right? It's gonna go hand in hand together. And yes, we're not having the easiest market as it was before, but also the opportunities has never been bigger. And the people who will survive and win at this time are people who actually build things from ground up, are people who actually got their hands dirty, and people who know what they have to do to connect each dots and make it back up again. So think this is why we're seeing so many people around CT, right, leaving out, saying, we're doomed. It's so bearish. There's no liquidity at all. Well, it really depends how you see it. And I like to joke around with, you and our friends that, no matter how many people are bearish, we're always going to be bullish because someone needs to be on that side. And hey, if you really look into any areas of life, business or whatever, you can always find good out of it, no matter how messed up the situation gets. So it's very important to see and understand and to actually have your own ways of thinking to feel. I think
Mhm.
nowadays most people are just following everything in this
Yeah,
rapid
yeah.
content
If
consumption.
you read
Yeah.
it on Twitter, you're late. And
Yeah.
it's the same with the investment psychology that you just mentioned. If everybody on Twitter suddenly gets like super bearish, depressed, all you read are like bad news, question yourself. Do
Mm.
you want to be late again? Do you want to invest into the project, or into even Bitcoin when these people
Mm.
are suddenly loud again? When you hear about two-digit gains in a single day, two-digit percentage gains in a single day from them, do you then want to buy, or do you might consider getting some Bitcoin during the times where nobody wants Bitcoin because somebody has to buy it? And it could be you. As I said earlier, it's definitely not financial advice that we're doing here today. But at the same time, I saw several cycles, you saw several cycles, and I think it's always the same. First, there is a lot of fear. Fear transforms into boredom. Volatility gets very, very
Yes.
low, and at one point, just nobody wants to sell anymore. And this is
Mm.
what we need from time to time to keep our market healthy. And it's good to see that once again, after performing an incredible all-time high, I mean, we were dreaming about Bitcoin at 100,000,
Yeah.
120,000, whatever you consider the top. We were dreaming about this years ago. And when it finally hit, nobody wanted it to stop. Everybody was super bullish, but the nature of things, it needs to cool down as well. And not just currencies cool down in our market, also niches cool down, industries within this market cool down, and certain businesses cool down. And as a next question, I would love to know from you, um, which steps did you take that made you successful? And which
Mm.
steps did you avoid that others might have taken that failed in the end? So I want to exactly know what made you successful, and what are you happy about today that you avoided? Which trend didn't you ride? Which kind of new technology that didn't go anywhere you never used? What was it? What was your way of navigating Web3 with the pros and the cons?
Mm. Thanks, Phil. Mm. Well, I wouldn't so much say I'm super successful. I'm a man with big dreams and ambitious goals. And when we compare to my goal list, I'm not anywhere near those. And I used to have a lot of anxiety and just this pressure within me that has been built up of always being worried about the future, always regretting what we could have done better in the past. And I'm sure this happens to so many people, especially in the crypto space. Just think about the charts, right? I could have hold it more, I shouldn't have sold it, blah blah. So, and it
But
happens to yeah.
if if I may jump in here quickly, I mean, goals are one thing, and we all know that we will never reach our goals, because if we reach our
Mm.
goals, our life ends.
Yeah.
So goals adapt and grow over the years. But speaking of success, if I ask you what made you successful, or which actions did you take that made you successful, it's not necessarily, let's say, about monetary goals or about
Mm. Mm.
goals, even as a
Exactly.
company. I think
Exactly.
the big achievement here is that in a very young and dynamic market, you sustained. You're still there. You're still
Yeah.
building the same business as initially. You had to adapt, you had to grow the team, cut the team down
Mm.
again, find new arms in the company to make it sustainable. but you're still there. And this is
Mm.
something that a lot of people overlook, because most of the businesses in our industry, they are out of the market within weeks or months, sometimes even days, and there is
Mm.
no real customer. But you manage to build something that is still there. And maybe this clarifies the question a little bit more. What
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you do so that you didn't disappear? What made you stick? What's the secret recipe of just being there for years?
Yeah, sure, sure. Thank you. I definitely was just touching on the fact how, I really want to send my message off to many, similar individuals, people who are just building, founders, entrepreneurs, that what kept me from not going sane or not having this blood pressure all over my brain would be coming back to the present, being really conscious of why are you playing this game. There should be a reason that you're in it, not just for the money. Of course, money is amazing. It buys you freedom. It's a tool to let you, increase your quality of life, help others, help your loved ones, scale everything up. But in a sense, we've heard it much enough. Money doesn't buy happiness, but you need some sort of value to keep pushing you forward. And for me, personally, that was just understanding why I even started from the start and why we're here. And like you mentioned, Phil, we're not going anywhere, and we're just always focused on bettering ourselves. um, the most important things for me to keep sustaining, and as we discussed, right, around 2023, 2024 period, which was tough, was just coming back to the root of, hey, this is why we're doing it, this is why we've been always putting all 100% effort into helping other founders, other projects, or being in Web3 overall, believing in blockchain technology. While everyone calls it a scam, while, back then all of your parents were calling you scam, doing something that is so weird, but you all always believed and kept moving forward. So those were the kind of foundation I went back towards. And I think most people mess up when, they get distracted, and there's a lot of distraction nowadays. So if you clearly know yourself, you know what you want to do, you know what the market values and what kind of value you can give others. And of course, the most important part, Phil, would be enjoying the process. That's so difficult to do. It's so easy to say, right? Enjoy the process, enjoy the process.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
caught up with so much things and shit happens, it's not that easy. But you have to train yourself. You have to train your mind. When you train your mind, you can control the outside factors that comes into you, right? Control your environments, control yourself, and that's how you can overcome everything. I know we're kind of drifting off more towards these kind of techniques and tools, but these are what I personally use to just be able to overcome many things and have the right mindset to kind of approach um, every situation in life, in business, in personal life, in every angles, and just not giving up. So I think many people are so much distracted by things outside of them, and they forget to listen the voice within. Sometimes
Mhm.
you just gotta plug off, find your own time, and just really, just use AI. Just talk to ChatGPT or Claude, whatever. Like, just explore yourself more, understand yourself more. And I believe most people will find out that the things they're doing on a daily basis, the energy, the focus they're putting into words, isn't actually what they want to be doing in the next many, many years, isn't what they actually enjoy out of life. Um, I see that we're all hustling here, we're all trying to make it. We have our goals, our dreams, whatever it may be, but sometimes you gotta come back towards, hey, your life is really limited. At maximum, you might have 75, 80 summers, 80 winters, 80
Yeah.
fall, 80 April. Sorry, yeah, springs. Um, So you really gotta explore from within and find out, okay, this is what I'm gonna be happy, and this is the kind of value that I personally adore for my life for the next 80 summers that's gonna come. So
Mm.
a lot of things, I'm very grateful to be in the crypto space. I love Web3 so much. I don't care what other people say. At times it can be very ugly as well, but it has taught me a lot, from the basic of finance. From Bitcoin is so much more. Like, the reason I'm so into it, it's not just because of money or hedging or finance, whatever. It teaches you so much about life if you really get deep into it. And it helped me wake up and get out of the matrix. That's what people say. So for me, these are like the core foundation feel that I would say for people to really be able to pick themselves up wherever they may be. If they're just starting off, if they're building something, if they're already successful, if they just fall back down, it's just going back to exploring yourself from within. Whatever technique, whatever tools would help you, just find that, get those value out of yourself. Don't care what other people say. Focus on yourself. You don't need outside validation. It's all internal. It's all in your mind, and just follow that. Just take those actions.
So
It's
you
very
could
crazy
say
how, yeah, your life can change just with that.
ignore the noise and stick to what works for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Because
think that would resonate with most people, especially in crypto, because our audience is crypto listeners here. If you scroll through CT, man, it gets so crazy sometimes. Um,
oh yeah,
yeah, yeah, and
this is
if you,
actually
yeah,
this is actually what I just wanted to bring up, because a lot of times I was quite confident into something or not confident at all into something. And then I was browsing through CT, was checking some Telegram groups, and it kind of shaped my way of thinking about different kind of things. And a lot of times I should have just trusted my gut, ignored the noise, and keep going. And I feel during times of such an information overload, you just need to focus on the fundamentals. You need to focus on your skill sets. You need to focus on what worked for you in the past and build on top of it. If you always try to catch the recent trend, if you always try to build the next innovative business, um, you will burn out. It's undoable. It was doable like 5 years ago. It was doable 6 years ago. Trends, they came slowly. They sticked around for a long term, and we were able to ride them. But these days, trends change daily. It's not like you
yeah,
have that one big meme coin trend, like for example, SafeMoon back in the days. Got into the industry with these reflection tokens that were completely new back then. No, it's like there is something new today and there is something new tomorrow. So if you always try to catch it, you will definitely burn your fingers. And this is
mm,
something that
mm,
we need to learn to live with, and we need to learn to build with. Because I also, from the perspective of a service provider, you need to adapt a lot, but you also
mm.
need to keep your winning horses. You need to stick to what made you successful initially, what worked for other clients, and replicate it. If you always try to reinvent the wheel with every single new campaign that you're doing, you're not just burning time, but you're also never certain that things will actually go right and that you will
Yeah,
have success with it. Um,
yeah.
so did we make
Phil,
a
I
point?
actually,
I still
yeah,
question if we made a real point.
yeah, yeah. I actually wanted to just add on a little bit to you. Like, for me, crypto is all about attention. So I
Mm,
mean, liquidity just follows wherever attention is, and you know, um, the attention that was there is just shifting from what it was with the memes, with whatsoever, to just something greater. So, uh, the like you mentioned before, the space is just maturing to where we always talked about.
Mhm.
But maybe it just went so fast that people can't catch up. But I truly believe that despite all the crazy things happening in the world that also affects crypto, I know for sure that at certain point there will be more better founders, more amazing products that actually are solving issues that it's supposed to since the start. And all the things that happened, all the ICO booms, all the crypto eras, all the memes are representative of where attention is moving, and the attention is always moving to freedom. And as humans, we're always following freedom. And sometimes these meme coins has much more deeper meaning to it as well. It's
Mhm.
just people forming in as a culture that believes in something, and wants those beliefs to be formed bigger. And yeah, so just for some newer listeners, this is something a little bit deeper, but you can definitely go into the rabbit hole yourself. Coming back, Phil, I think we touch a lot of things, but yeah, let's summarize up.
I mean, also jumping in at what you just
Yeah.
said, you just need to look at brands like Pudgy.
Mm,
I mean,
mm,
they
mm,
had a crazy run, but at the same time, they also made it bigger than a meme coin at one point because um, I think the reality in meme coin trenches at this time in crypto is very bad, and I don't
mhm,
advise anybody to even be a tourist there. Because if you're not a seasoned meme coin trader that spent the last 6, 7, 8, 9 years trying to find the perfect opportunities in this crypto market, then you will get burned.
mm,
The times might come again. The times of meme coins will come back. But for now, I think it's a lot about infrastructure. It's a lot about making businesses work and finally also find customers for our
mm,
business. Last question that I wanted to ask you about your early days, about how you started the business. Um, how did you get your very first customer ever? How did
mm.
you onboard them? How did it go? How did you feel when you made money the first time just by fruits of your hard work in Web3?
Oh, it was amazing. The first money I made was exactly 2 BNB. That was during between being invited to co-own manage a call channel and just DMing every single day more than 100 founders projects um, through Telegram, and pitching them the idea of doing marketing and strategies outside Telegram and Twitter into other form of socials, especially in Asia, TikTok, YouTube, Line, and bringing in these fresh new lifestyle kind of influencers other than crypto KLs alone, paired with running communities for them. But yeah, that was the first 2 BNBs, and right away I took my parents out for a very nice dinner and bought my first iPhone ever. and,
Your
and
father
then
deserves the dinner. I mean, he
yeah,
got you infected with this
uh,
virus, so at least you
uh,
took care of him
yeah.
as soon as he
I mean,
started.
at that point, we did make good money from the investment field, but just talking about as a business in crypto, I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
was called first ever money. And I had a lovely opportunity. And man, the internet is such an amazing place. I love the internet so much. We knew through the internet. A lot of
Yeah.
our C levels in our team we knew through internet. I still have many friends that I don't know them in real life. We still only talk through internet for many 5 6 years. Hey, Fipat.
High five.
Um, and yeah, all these opportunities, bro. Like even when I was just doing the reselling stuff, the e-commerce, there's so much money to be made through internet. This has been the greatest innovation of mankind, and I'm always so excited to tell people that whatever you want to do, you can always make it. Just put a little bit of effort to it, build the community, start networking, and just put, you know, um, all the time and hours into understanding, learning, and double down. Find like-minded people, get into communities, network that can get you so far, and that's how we are here for DTC as well from day one, right? So that was the first amount I kind of start making, guys. um then it was just getting referred from amazing friends and network that we've built. One of the first ever project that made DTC's name and built us from the ground was, so here we have one of our very good friend. He also brought us amazing projects to be a part of. It did amazingly well, and one of them was a move to earn project that we successfully raised a lot of money. We invested ourselves. I believe it did 60x two times, from the
With
ICO to yeah. And the co-founders are still a great friend of ours. They're doing amazing, with new projects still today. So from then on, Phil, I think the bandwagon just kept moving. We kind of scaled, and yeah, fast forward, we're here. So that's where we really made our first money for the company. And right off the bat, we started having so many deal flows, and those were good time of crypto, the gold rush era. Every day it was signing 50K, 60K, 100K contracts. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of our friends listening here, whether you're a QL builder founder. So I'm sure you remember those good days. um,
absolutely, at
how
least I do. It wouldn't be
yeah.
a first episode if we wouldn't run into some problems as well.
Yeah, yeah,
You
Phil is just having some camera issues right now.
know, my camera is off for a second, but I should be back with you in just a moment. And I mean, we had a lot of conversation today so far, anyways, already. And for me, there would be just the last tip that I need to take from my cup
Hmm.
today, because there is not a lot left, a little bit of
Phil,
coffee left.
can you explain people about our first sip and last sip concept again?
Yes, definitely. So we want to obviously brand the show a little bit also regarding the name. And we will always have the first sip and the last sip. And these will be also later displayed within shorts. We want to create some content out of this first sip and last sip. So you can always be excited about these questions. In the future, we will invite a lot of, let's call them famous guests, or at least well-known individuals from our industry. And I will do a deep dive into their story. I will do a deep dive into what they did so far, what they built, and what they're passionate about. And these two segments, there will be the questions that might be the most polarizing, the most entertaining, the most funny, depending on who we speak to. So keep in mind, Crypto and Coffee, it's about the first sip and it's about the last sip. The first sip gets our conversation started, and the last sip is what we still have in the cup before we close the show down. Did I
Yeah.
did I break it down to the point, or do you want to add to it?
No, I think you did amazing, Phil. Nothing to add on. So, yeah, I think we're gonna be very excited for amazing guests we're gonna have on the show. Some most people would be very familiar with, some would be people who are more behind the scenes that has been hugely involved in a lot of growth in the space. But maybe they, weren't, in the spotlight before. So, I really, really am excited to curate amazing guests for our listeners here. And yeah, thank you everyone for supporting. I think we have over 400 listeners so far for our first episode. So that's over what we expected. And yes, this is a live stream. Every episode we are aiming to live stream it, but we will also upload it, edited versions back through across our socials, Facebook, YouTube, X, LinkedIn. We will open up our Spotify and podcasts on Apple as well. So these are where you can always come back or share to your friends. And yeah, please share us any comments you have. We would love to always improve the quality of the show. If there's any certain guests you guys would love to see, or you are interested in seeing any kind of activations, activities, this would be it. All right, so definitely raw, unfiltered, since it's live. Yeah, super excited. So thank you, Phil. I
Yeah,
think we
raw and
wrap
unfiltered brings
up
me to the
today.
point. Trying to fix my camera right now, but it just won't let me.
Good.
So, as I said before, I have one question before we close today's episode, and I hope to that all the listeners enjoyed our conversation. It was very unscripted, just talking about
Yeah.
the journey, talking about the achievements, talking about the negatives that can also come with doing business in Web3. Um, the last question that I wanted to ask, and this is also the last tip, will be a positive one. It will be the one achievement that stands out for you. What made you the most proud as a founder? Was it presenting your achievements to your parents that got you involved initially in Web? Was it building a huge team? Was it building scale? Was it scaling the company? What's the one achievement on your journey that you personally been the most proud? And I know Thai people are super humble, and you guys have a hard time of actually talking about your achievements. But please give us the unfiltered truth. What was the day where you were dancing through the streets, where you thought like, okay, I made it. I built something to last. I built something significant. Let's give him some
Um,
time.
yeah,
Think
yeah.
rush
Phil,
here.
actually, yeah, actually, the most proud moments, I can break it down to one. I definitely think the first time we started making money, we can monetize through the business, and just started working with the first 4 or 5 projects, and seeing those smile on the team we work with, the founders we helped, right? Seeing them successfully raise funds, launch their token, launch a project, build users. I think nothing can compare to that. I mean, of those feeling when the pre-sales sold out within like 1 hour, right? And so
Oh yeah.
I think nothing tops that, Phil. So that would be like the first layer of the proud moments I have. Um, Second, I would say the reason I also really love crypto is, yes, it can get nasty. You can meet many unique people in this space, both good and bad. But definitely one of the thing that why people keep repeating, once they're in crypto, they can never leave, is the culture, the vibe, the amazing individuals they get to meet. These are what crypto brings. And I think that it's because, like for me, it was through Bitcoin. For some it's through NFTs, for some it's through different kind of projects, or just events or people. It just helps people get out of those box they were always in, right? Whether you were freshly graduate like me, that stumbled upon, whether you're a high schooler, university kid just doing side hustles with crypto, doing trading, or you're someone within the corporates doing 9 to 5 and you became a QL. Crypto really has that amazing culture and different aspect that it brings the best out of people at times. And I'm very proud of being a part of this industry so early. And like I said, looking at the good side, I've made so many great friends. I've met so many great partners, clients turned friends. So this space can be very amazing. at many times, and there is still, great communities out there and amazing side events still happening, conferences that you can meet like-minded individuals, people who have the same mindset, thoughts as you, and that's something I'm very proud of. The team we've built, the network, the community we've structured from the events as well. Right now, we've got over 20,000 people in the community, super active around the world. And shameless plug, we're launching the platform soon for connecting the dots. And yeah, still looking to grow, scale many different things. We're still building here, hey, right? So if you're out there very new to the space, and or even the OGs, don't be shy. Just keep building, bring values out to the world, and these are the things I'm super proud of, Phil. And looking forward to be more proud of amazing products we're building together now. And this show,
Absolutely.
of course,
Thank
this
you.
has been in the making for so long. So now we've got it out. I can't be more proud of that.
Absolutely. I mean, we're talking about running a podcast for ages. It's been
Yes,
years.
yes.
At the same time, thank you very much for jumping the cultural border and
Mm.
sharing with us about the time of the pre-sales. And this is something I didn't see it coming this time. For the last question that I asked you regarding what's been tough for you, I kind of knew the answer, but with this one, I was honestly curious. And now that you remind me back at these wild pre-sale days where we were trying to get projects funded as fast as possible, it was a great time, and you learned on a daily basis, and it was pure passion for the mission. It didn't matter if we won or lost, but it was constant fun, constant growth, and great experiences as a team. So also big thank you from my end for making me part of this mission. We didn't tell our story how we met, but we might Mr. B
Yeah,
here
yeah.
once again in the future, and we need some content. So guys and girls listening, I hope that you enjoyed that first episode. I personally had a lot of fun chatting with a good friend, speaking about his views about our industry. And additionally, I wanna invite you to leave a like on the socials that we built. We will go live soon again. As Mr. B already told you, we're gonna also upload snippets from the show and a full cutted podcast version of it. So if you don't have the time to join us live, then we would still appreciate if you follow us on these podcast channels where you can listen to the whole episode without noise, without distraction, and without me messing up my camera setting, just as an audio listener. Before we have our very last sip today, I just wanted to quickly invite you to give some updates as well. I know that there are a lot of moving parts in DTC. You already mentioned the flagship product that you're releasing with the Connecting the Dots app. So if you have a few updates, let us know. This is the non-shameless shilling time. So maybe a few dates. Where can people meet you in an offline environment? Which events do you plan to go? And if there is anything other exciting about the DTC Group.
Thanks, Phil. So yeah, we've been in the space since 2020, guys, and we're still focusing on our core, which is helping founders scaling companies in this space together, and of course, transforming companies that would love to, whether tokenize or get into the Web3 game. That's what we're also doing a lot within the real world assets kind of sector as well, and we're still helping through our extensive consultant advisories, um, GTM strategies. That it's our bread and butter, and I believe we do very, very well, right, Phil? We've been doing this for ages, hundreds of projects, hundreds of founders. We help, through our Golden Bridge strategy to scale into different regions, countries, build communities. So that's still within our core focus. So if there's amazing founders out there, amazing products, companies, we're always here to support you. We've also got our accelerator programs going live soon with very, very huge chains and grants. So that's something exciting, and you can always follow DTC Group socials for those updates. We're launching our new private group for founders, decision makers, key opinion leaders. So if you are someone who meets these criteria and you are interested to be a part of our new community, that's open for you. It's called the High Table Club. I've also been always building these communities up, and I believe this is my passion, that I really want to bring like-minded people, good people together, and build something great. Connecting the Dots is launching soon. We've started connecting the dots in 2023. If you notice, so CTD is connecting the dots, and it's just upside down of DTC. That's a fun fact. And we've been doing networking events, private dinners, rooftops, hackathons, wellness events, exhibitions from 20 people to 3,000 plus people in the past 3 years. So our question was, how can we leverage this? How can we bring more value to people rather than just being at the event and getting out and getting things done? And how can we make these dots connected more impactfully and more valuably? So we're launching our first ever events platform, and we've poured in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make this happen. A lot of investments. So very excited to let you guys come in, start using, give us feedbacks. We've already had 20,000 plus wait lists at the moment, so that's something we're very excited, and we've been cooking for a while. And of course, finally, is this show we've launched today with our first episode. And thank you, Phil, for again hopping on, and gonna be one of the best hosts in this space. So please like, follow, subscribe, share. I always wanted to say this word. Like and subscribe. The bigger the channel gets, the better the guests we can bring, the better opportunities we can share with you guys here as listeners and communities. Of course, today is just us kind of just going around and babbling, nothing special, but I promise that the lined up guests are going to be amazing, going to blow your mind. And this is what, we intended to, not just AMAs, typical asking about products, projects, companies. You already know all of those, but more so deeping into the person behind it himself, how he thinks, how she thinks, and I think this is going to be very new for us and gonna be fun as well. So that's the most important takeaway today, Phil. I would say to our listeners: have fun in whatever you're doing. Find joy. Spark the joy. Even if it's the shittiest situations you're in, try to find a bit of joy, and life will be a little bit easier, and you can smile more. And that's what we've been doing, right? It doesn't get easy every single day, but if you're smiling, I'm smiling, and you guys should smile more too. So that's the message we're trying to share.
And if you need some lessons on smiling, just visit Thailand. It's the land of people, and it's very much appreciated if you share a lot of smiles with the people there. Um, I know that you're always humble and you say, yeah, it's just us talking. But in the end, I know that you have a super busy schedule and that it was quite tough to get 1.5 hours of your time. So also big thank you from my end for taking the time and joining us in our very first episode. And as I said previously, I want to bring you on in some time again. For now, let's focus on bringing quality to the table, bringing high caliber people in these conversations, and obviously also populating our social medias. That's it for today. This was the first episode of Crypto and Coffee, and I hope that you will be our guest also in our next episode. It was a pleasure to speak to you, brother. Thank you so much for your time, and also for the valuable insights that you gave from the early childhood to your dad getting you into crypto to starting your own business and the whole philosophy behind it of how to sustain yourself in the market, which are the kind of values that you want people to associate you with. And yeah, there is nothing left to say. The cup is empty. There are no tips in it left. So it's also our time to leave the studio for today. We will be back next week. So as Mr. B already told you, keep yourself updated on the social medias, leave a follow if you can, and then join our next show. Thank you so much. Have a great day wherever you
Thanks,
are on
Phil.
the planet, and we see each other next week for the next episode.
Bye.